All right.
Okay, so our office has always done agent surveys. We had a great survey that was made by marketing. It was a really pretty presentation. But then, and it did take quite a bit of time to do all of that. So while we were shut down with COVID in April, I didn't have access to sending that out. And there was a lot of cost and time into it. So I thought about doing it on Dotloop and sending it because all of the clients are used to that. So I thought, well, maybe that's a good idea. So we tried that for a while. And then with still all of the COVID and our kids back to school and we're doing the Google Forms each day, I thought, why not Google Forms? All of the clients are probably used to that in some form or fashion. So let's try Google. So I just jumped in and tried it myself. So I'll show you what I did and we can go from there. So I'm going to share my screen. Okay, can you see my screen, Carrie?
Yep, we sure can.
Okay. So this is what the actual survey looks like. I'll show you how to put a picture in. This is a Grand Rapids photo. Here's a brief description and then just a little paragraph about congratulations, something we had written up in our original email through Dotloop. And then you can add all of the questions that you want. This one is please tell us your address. So that one is mandatory. The only mandatory one on here that we've requested the client to give us that, the address that they purchased or sold. And then you can add as many questions as you want and do it in different ranges and all of that stuff. And then you can give a long answer or a short answer. And we always ask, and may we use your name and comments for marketing purposes? And then again, a short answer. So the neat thing about this is all of your responses get logged. Don't pay attention to these. I was testing it out on my family to make sure that it would go smooth when we went to a client and looked professional. So I was sending it to Chris and, one of my kids here, fill this out. Let me know if it works. So you can get a summary, which I think is really neat on, well, this one is just on responses. But as far as how did your agent do, I'm going to have one form for each agent. So the manager and the agent can both look at what their results were as an overall. Did they get all fives? Did they get fours? Where are they exactly going? Especially with new agents, I think it's great for the managers. So they have this possibility. You can also, they can see it by question as to what they were and go question by question where all the answers came in. And then you can see the individual responses so you can figure out what address it was that, marked you lower and stuff. So those are the few of the things here. You can print these as well on the screen. You can create a spreadsheet and send it to Excel or Google Sheets. And then you can get email notifications for new responses. And I have that on. So when a client does fill this in, I know right away and I get an email, and I'll show you what that looks like as well. So that's kind of what it looks like. And then as to how to do it, you would, if you're in your Google Drive, if I can find it here a minute, let's move this. You can do a new and go down here to Google Forms, or you can go over here to the Google Apps button and find Google Forms in here as well. So you can do a blank. They do have some forms in here, but I just started with a blank one. And again, so here's your untitled form, very similar to your Word documents or any of the other documents in Google. You can name it whatever you want. It does come across here. So if you wanted to do them by agent, you can put an agent name in there. And then you type in your description, you know, whatever it might be. Thank you for taking the time to fill out this agent survey. So here's your questions, and to keep adding the questions, you just hit the plus button here on the side. How well did your agent keep you informed? So you can put a picture in here if for some reason you, you know, some will say, look at this picture and tell me, you know, what it means. You know, we don't obviously need that for an agent survey, but if it was something different that you were going to use this for and you needed to insert a picture, you could do that here. Here you can choose how you want that answer to come across. So you just click on it. This is pretty self-explanatory. You can use short answer. You can do a paragraph. So depending on, you know, what your question is and how you're looking for the answers, you just click on it and it just automatically changes it. So you can do multiple choice. And by that, you could put in here, excellent. You can add another one to, you can even click them right here, good, fair, poor, and then you just X them out if you decide you don't want that one. Or you can change that. There is check boxes and drop down menu, but you can also do a linear scale, which is what I have. So it will give you a 1 to 5, and you can say needs improvement to excellent. So that is a few of the differences. Like I said, click here and you can, haven't figured out how to use the grids here yet. I think you can also upload a file if you need them to read something. Here you can duplicate, so you can have the same question, and if you just want to change a little bit of it, then you can trash it if you want, or you can make this required. So like I had the address required, you can just click on toggle back and forth on this, and that will make it a required field. I didn't really have to do that one. So you can also import a question. So you can click on this, then I can go to one of my other forms and I can add one of these questions and import that. I didn't have that, so let's see where did already import it? Hopefully that agent survey. I'm not sure that imported it, but you do have that capabilities to be able to do that. And then this adds another title box. So if you had different categories and you wanted them separated, maybe this is in regards to closing. You could put that in there, or regards to the listing, or whatever, you know, your topics are. Again, you can add an image to that, or your video, or you can add a section, which is a whole nother like page. And I'm sure you've all done different surveys in regards to this. And like we were going to do, this part would be relocation. So maybe you have a client that was a relocation client, and you could put this section as relocation and this as your standard questions and these as relocation questions. So pretty simplistic, pretty easy. If you decide you want to take this one out, again, you can just trash that one and it will take that question out. And you can click on these boxes and easily just move them around from space to space. So pretty easy and self-explanatory. Let's see, what other options are there? So up here, you can customize your theme. So here's where you choose an image. and you can upload. And here's the cover photo that I had used. This happened to be a Facebook cover photo and it worked really well. So this is what I used. So that automatically pops up there. Now, I'm not a big fan of the red, so you can choose a theme color and go with a little bit more blue. You've got the blue, then you can change your background here a little bit as well. Your font style, I was watching a video and they actually suggested you keep it as basic. There's a lot of different fonts here and they can get, you never know how that will come off. So they suggested that you keep it as basic. Up here, the next option is a preview. So you can take a look at what it would look like if you sent it out. You can also do the answers on here and it will put it into the responses and submit. So that will end up coming into your responses. You can also submit another response that way as well. So that is what the preview is. And then this last one is the settings. So here's where a couple things you need to make sure you've got this correct. So in general, restrict to users in the Schmidt family of companies. Obviously, you're going to be sending this outside of the company, so you want to unclick that. You do not want to limit it to one response. If you do, they will be required to sign into Google. This is where I got a little tripped up at first and everybody was needing to sign in. So you want to make sure that is unclicked. You can change these if you want, edit after submit, that kind of thing, save. You go to your presentation and you can show a progress bar depending on how long your survey actually is, and show a link to submit another one. So what I also did on here was it says confirmation message. So I just put thank you for, filling out our survey. Or we appreciate it, whatever way you want to do it. Then there's a quiz section that's more for teachers to put points value on what they put in here. So you save that. Here's where you can make a copy. So you do your basic agent survey and then you want to make another copy. You can make a copy just like we do in the other ones. And this one, I want it for a specific agent, so I can put the agent's name in here. And okay. So it will create the same survey with your agent name. So very easy to duplicate that if you want one for each of your agents. That way your manager and the agent can both view those. By going down here to add collaborators. So here's where you could add your manager, have them look at it if you want to add the actual agent as well. So I think that's pretty much it for here. There might be a few things in preferences, but when you want to send it, this is what it was such a time saver for me. You can just do send, click the send button. Here's where you would click the link. Might be easier to do it this way and do a shortened URL. You can copy it. And then I go to my email and in my Composed, I have an email template all ready to go. So it is right here. So Coldwell Banker Realtor Survey. I wanted to make sure that the clients knew that this survey was from Coldwell Banker and it wasn't, just another bogus email or something like that. So you paste the link in here. I like to highlight it and click the link button so it comes up in blue and they know it's a link. And you just put the client name in here. Our agents put the email address on our transaction report for each of their deals most of the time. So I can easily just type it in there, send, and it is done. So when they do that, or we receive it back, this is what it looks like. It comes from Google Forms, your form, and you have one new response. So you do get that right away, and you can go into view and view what they wrote, or let the manager know that there's a new survey in there. So pretty self-explanatory, pretty easy. I learned most of this on my own, and when you know the Word or the Sheets section, it works very similar to a lot of those. When I did get stuck on the email, I simply Googled, and there was a couple training videos that really quickly went through it, and I found what I needed and everything. So again, just a great tool. I ended up creating another one. We have closing gifts, and we like to record what agents and what addresses they are going to. So I created another one for the agent closing, our closing gifts. And so when an agent requests one, I can quickly send them the link. They can quickly fill it in. I'll get the email back that they have it done, and I can get those closing gifts ready for them. So just what has worked really well with, for us. Hoping to get a nice, good response from the clients as well. When we did the paper ones, we didn't get a ton of them back. So we're hoping that this works quite well, and they feel comfortable doing it this way. So.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely fantastic. If you guys have any questions, feel free to unmute yourselves or type in the chat box. I've used these surveys for things like in the early days when we had to do our COVID response before we moved it to Paylocity. It was a Google form. To opt in or opt out of the Schmidt Community Fund is a Google form. So there's a lot of different uses for it. This is a really good one because I agree with you, Sherry. You're going to get a lot bigger return if it's ease of use for the clients. And what's easier than click, click, submit. So I think it's just a fantastic idea that you created this.
Well, thank you. And the other thing is if you're sending a survey and which address do you send it to? Are you needing to get that address back from the agents, and might not necessarily timely get that? So even a lot of those would come back after we put the postage on it and all of that stuff. So even just a cost savings, and now you're doing it on a more timely manner. Right when that is done, well, they're not necessarily maybe moving right in the middle of it. And so I think the timing is better on it as well. It's fresh in their mind.
I absolutely agree with you. Any questions? I don't see any yet. We'll give it just a few minutes. Your agents could also take this survey if they wanted to and put it on their Moxie sites. They could have a ask for review section or custom page, whatever they might want to build out, and they can actually embed this right into their Moxie sites if they wanted to, and then send their clients there as well.
Awesome.
Well, I just had a congratulations that it was great info, Sherry, and I don't see any other questions. So obviously you guys can reach out to myself, you can reach out to Sherry or anybody if you have questions as you're building these out. So thank you so much, Sherry, and thanks everybody for your time. I appreciate it.
Happy to help. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye now.
Thank you.